All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Space City Rocketry's general meeting on September 20th, 2022. For those that do not know me, I'm Ravi Desai, the SCR Chief Engineer this year. Unfortunately, my partner, Joe, the project manager for this year, is unable to join due to some health and personal reasons. So please send her your best wishes as she is hoping to get better soon. So on the agenda for tonight, we have the PDR announcement. So I'll be going over what is a PDR and also when we plan to hold the PDR. I'll be talking about our new member bootcamp and how we will acclimate new members to the team. Go over some upcoming events and then end it off with some sub-team updates from each of the wonderful sub-team leads. All right, first up about the PDR. So to define the PDR for those who are unaware, it stands for the Preliminary Design Review. It's a review conducted to evaluate the progress, technical adequacy, and risk resolution of the selected design approach. Now, I know that was probably kind of boring definition. So I want to ask the question of how does that apply to us and what do we want to gain from the PDR? So I kind of narrowed it down into 3 bullet points, but you could probably talk for days about how beneficial a preliminary design review is to a team like us. But first and probably most importantly is to receive feedback on our preliminary designs. We want to talk to our mentors such as Randy and alumni such as Andrew, Samar, Dom, the OGs who are probably way too smart for their own good. And yeah, they provide some really valuable feedback on some things that we're thinking of doing. And I think especially for this year, as we're going to be attempting a 4-inch diameter rocket for the first time, they will have some good feedback for us regarding some things that we may have missed or anything that they think about our current designs. And really, it may come across as they're coming for our heads, but I think it is all for the better. And we'll all end up in a better position because of the things that they point out. Second is to demonstrate the competency of design to move forward in the design process. We want to be able to say, hey, we know what we're doing to a certain extent, and we should be able to move forward in our overall engineering design process. We want to use the PDR as kind of a gauge to see where we are this year, how well we're doing, and get the go-ahead to start finalizing our designs so that we can hold a CDR in about a month from the PDR or the critical design review. But we'll talk more about that after we host our preliminary design review. Okay. Lastly is to demonstrate the elimination of risk, obviously to a degree. I think something that has been really interesting this year is finally understanding risk matrices. For those who are on the team in previous years, the kind of trouble and confusion that we've had with those. But thanks to the alumni at last year's flight readiness review, we have a much better idea of what risk matrices are, and we can demonstrate how our designs are eliminating or at least mitigating the risk that we're going to naturally encounter with launching a rocket. So with all that being said, the SCR PDR will be held on Friday, October 21st from 7 to 10 p.m. We'll try to get started promptly at 7, hopefully present for maybe around an hour, hour and a half, and then leave the rest of the time for questions and feedback. And all your sub-team leads and your project leads will be there. I just confirmed from our wonderful event coordinator, Juan Carlos, that we will be in L2D2. And hopefully it's not double booked for October 21st. All right, next up is the new member bootcamp. So really huge shout out to Emily Humble, the project manager for Oberon. Opening another one? But she has put together a really solid kind of 1-day plan for all of our new members to get acclimated to rocketry. In the past, we've struggled, I think, a lot with the consistency of what we're putting out to new members and how we're trying to teach them about rocketry, especially as that differs within each sub team, and the varying levels of, I guess, relevance and things that you need to know will obviously be very different across sub teams. So the purpose of this event is to introduce new members to the world of rocketry. And Emily has put together a schedule for a day full of things like presentations, hands-on activities, and some socializing, so that we can get a good mix of learning, getting to know each other, and also getting them maybe some challenges and some prizes based on the work that they're able to do. So this will be Saturday, October 8th. Sorry, I forgot to add the time on here, but it will be starting at around 10 a.m. But we'll send out a more official announcement, hopefully with a flyer in the weeks coming. Now, some upcoming events. First, huge shout out to everyone who participated or volunteered or showed up or bought a cookie from us at the bake sale today. We really, really appreciate it. We almost sold out, and there's about maybe half a tray of cookies that we have in person. So if anyone's hungry, feel free to take them for free. Donations are appreciated though. Yeah, it would mean a lot. But yeah, we want to have our final roster decisions after Joe and I and the leads conduct all the interviews for all of our new members. We will let everyone know their status of whether they made the team or not on that day. And then a week after that will be the new members boot camp, thanks to Emily. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the SCR PDR will be held on Friday, October 21st from 7 to 10 p.m. in L2D2 and also on Zoom for those who can't make it in person. And now we will transition to our sub-team updates, starting off with analysis and Omar.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, so starting off with what we've completed so far. So we finished our nose cone analysis, and we've narrowed it down to most likely a 5-to-1 tangent ogive shape, which you can see right here. This is what it looks like, the shape of it, how long it's going to be. And we've also finished comparing the 3 flight sim softwares that we are looking at. So if you look at this table on the right, we used our past launches to see what each simulation software predicted versus what actually happened. And that gave us a little insight as to which one to trust more for Shasta. So moving on to what we're currently working on is mainly our fin design. So the 2 criteria that we're looking at is fin flutter and divergence velocity, for those who don't know. So we're using a software to kind of tell us what velocity that this will occur at, so we don't exceed that during flight, as well as maintaining the right stability and a good apogee. So the current shape that we're looking to most likely pick is trapezoidal, which you can see in the bottom right-hand corner. This just gives us a good kind of balance between everything. And we're looking at G10 fiberglass and carbon fiber as the material. So a big milestone that we want to kind of hit, or due date really, is finalizing our layout for a 4-inch rocket, and this is on October 1st. So it's looking like we're going to be on track, fortunately. Shout out to the team. And we're just continuing the CAD parts as we go. And then, of course, future tasks is to begin some analysis techniques once we finalize some parts and design. And that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you, Omar. Now avionics. The broke sub-team.
No applause for me? Okay.
Thank you. So this is avionics, aka the broke sub team. So, oh wait, okay, thank you. So for our completed tasks this week, 80% of our members have KiCad downloaded. So thank you to all who showed up. We got a lot of members who are now ready to learn more about PCB design. We gave a crash course of avionics to like future members. So we had a couple new members who were interested in avionics, kind of like join the lab time and just see what's up of avionics. And we just kind of practice teaching new members exactly what it is and giving crash courses. So we're definitely going to do a lot of that more often to other sub teams as well, so that everyone knows all about avionics. And we also have a rough draft of the CAD of the avionics bay. Thank you, Brandon, for that. We're going to try to create a more modular design this year, especially with the 4-inch. We're going to maximize the amount of space we have and make it really modular as well, just to suit all our needs. And our current task, we're making an Excel sheet of the COT/SRAD components. Right now, Sam, if you look in the drive, has posted an Excel sheet where it has all the stuff. I see here on the left where we're just going to assign members a sensor to research on and find the best one. They'll each probably do a mini trade study, also deciding on what sensor we want to do. We're also going to decide on a second flight computer, and most likely we're going to try to look and see if we can even make it an SRAD flight computer. And we're also listing the bill of material items that we can get a finalized budget. Our future tasks are mainly PCB design, and we're also doing a new research project with ham radio. So we're going to try to upgrade the telemetry on the ground station and possibly make it way better so that when we launch the rocket again, we'll be able to fully get all the GPS coordinates from start to finish. Other than that, that's it for avionics.
Thank you, Raj, and shout out to Avionics. Their lab sessions are always packed and full of fun and exciting events. So I encourage y'all to make it out to one if you can't. And now we have payload with Busy.
Hi everyone. So our completed tasks so far, we did finish our insect trade study, flies 1, as you can see on the right. We also we also finished our statement of work. Now that we have decided that flies 1, we'll put a little bit more background about flies and like what our model organism is. It's a really good document. We're hoping to release it this Friday to the general. It basically just touches over our like background and like past researches we're basing stuff off of, our hypothesis, our like purpose of work, and then some materials and methods it goes over, and then all the references we've gotten everything from. Our current task is a new payload design for the 4-inch diameter. We also have a rough CAD from Brandon for the bay, and then we'll go over the internal structure. We're hoping to get that done within like 2 to 3 weeks, and then hopefully get that finalized by analysis. We also are going to work on the documentation for upkeep of bugs. It should be easier than if we went with something more complicated. And then we have plans for the cooling system. We're looking a lot into that. We're in a big brainstorm phase right now. And then future tasks, just designing the enclosure for the bugs or our bug hotel. We'll let you know how much rent is later on. And then decide on the different testings for the spring semester, working on our risk matrices now that we know how to do them properly, and then adding items to our budget, figuring out what we need to buy, and then constructing the building timeline for next semester.
Yes, thank you, Payload. Similarly, lab times are also always fun. And big shout out on the statement of work document. Very good. Would highly recommend you read it. The first of its kind for SCR, I think. I think we've never had a document fully defining what the payload is going to be doing. So hopefully everyone can be more aligned with the payload this year and keep track of what experiment and what exactly the purpose of Shasta will be. Next up, we have propulsion with Parsa.
Hello. So for our completed task, on I think Wednesday we started taking apart the motor. We took out the liner and just have it in a corner right now. Probably won't be disposed. It'll be a souvenir, I guess, of the past. So our current task right now, we're still cleaning up the motor. It's been a struggle for this one half. The other half is pretty fresh. It smells good. Doesn't smell bad anymore. And then we have to start getting the load cell working. Scott and I are still trying to figure out how to do that. And we're still looking for lab space. And for future tasks, we're trying to go and find a machinist that's not at UH because he does not want to help us. And maybe get a partnership with them, hopefully.
Thank you, Propulsion. And yeah, I was there last Wednesday when we were cleaning out the motor and trying to get the liner out, and that was a lot of fun. And yeah, if anyone who I guess isn't on the team or on the team and you know a professor who may potentially have a lab space, please DM me or get in contact with me because we are eagerly looking for a space for SRAD propulsion, and for us to really take the next step as a team, I think we're going to need that extra lab space. So please let me know if you know any professors who may be willing to help out. Next up, we have recovery with Christian.
Hello, guys. So, recovery. So, what have we been doing for the past couple weeks? So, we did the 4-inch diameter trade study, selected our parachute stitching techniques. As far as current tasks go, we just need to verify what components we're going to use from Zenith on Shasta this year. Parachute, shock cords. We already know we can't use the CD3, so we're going with the Raptor instead. And just verifying all the components with the calculators for things like descent rates, shock forces, things like that. We're still trying to decide Zacron versus ripstop nylon. We have a meeting with Dom on Thursday to talk over things like that. We're thinking right now we're going to do like a little test parachutes with both Zacron and ripstop. It's like a little 1 meter by 1 meter parachutes, and just throwing them off the Agnes Arnold, seeing how they compare with both stitching them and just working with them in general. Shasta configuration art. We need to work on that. I know last year we kind of had a bit of a rush getting that done for the PDR. So this year we're going to try to get that done a little bit further in advance, have it look a little nicer. Start parachute manufacturing, of course, and parachute testing like I just talked about. I think that's about it for recovery. All right, thank you, guys.
Yes, huge shout out to Recovery, working on their own SRAD parachutes, kind of first of its kind. Feels like we have a lot of firsts this year, and it's really cool to see just seeing all the innovation that we've been able to come up with, even in a 4-inch diameter rocket. And lastly, we have structures with Brandon.
Hello, everyone. So on Saturday, while everyone was at the game, me, Haley, and Gustavo were in the lab doing the wines that you see on the right. So they came out beautiful. I'm very happy with them. We definitely learned a lot doing larger diameter wines. So I'm kind of excited to take those off. They should be cured by now. So hopefully they turn out well and we can get them off all clean. We're currently working on the coupler designs, and we're trying to implement that into avionics as well. The main difference is just the supports. So the X portion that you see on the CAD at the bottom, down here, that's one method that we're kind of looking at for payload, but we're also looking at a different method that would include a typical bulkhead design, but just much thicker, and we'd be able to support it through the outside of the airframe. We're additionally looking into epoxy molding techniques, which will also help us with the decision between an X support, like the one in there, or the bulkhead design. For the future, we're looking at more of the components for the 4-inch diameter rocket and just designing that to whatever we need to. We're looking mostly at the fins right now, and being able to test those with some of our techniques with just surface mounting and fillets. It kind of ties into the wines that we're doing, but we're also trying to talk to some professors and get access to some material testing labs so that we can, get some actual data and material properties for the stuff that we're making. So pretty exciting stuff.
Before you go, wait, sorry, I had a quick question for Brandon. How or have you decided how you're going to remove the wines off the manual?
Yeah, so it's an issue that has been, I guess, tried to be fixed. The previous method, I think, was a car and just hooking it up, and driving away. We're going to try a little bit of a softer method. And essentially what we're thinking of, me and Gustavo are kind of brainstorming, but aluminum collar, some type of metal collar that we can strap over the mandrel. And so it'll be pretty close to the outer diameter of the mandrel. And we'll attach that to a motor that is that has a speed extremely turned down just from gear ratios or pulley ratios. And that'll increase the torque a lot. And hopefully that'll just, slowly pull it off. But I don't know. We'll have to see. It's still in the idea phase right now. to answer your question.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, structures. Thank you, Brandon. Yeah, I think one of the really cool things this year, I say that for every sub team, I feel like, but the new bay designs I'm really excited for. In the past, all of our bay designs with those threaded rods and the old bulkheads were just honestly a big pain to work with. So hopefully the spaceport judges look down kindly on our new designs. Hopefully our PDR feedback on them is good as well. But I really hope we can move forward with something along these lines and really improve the quality of flight for every sub team. And that concludes the meeting tonight. But if you have any questions about applications, interviews, anything, bake sales, rocketry, go ahead and ask your questions. I'll be happy to answer them. Dr. Franchek, for those who know, I mean, if you can take his D1 class, I would take that. That's the best class I've taken at U of H. Yes, Irvin, I see your hand is raised.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I had a question for analysis. For maybe y'all mentioned this, but y'all went for the Fighter 1 for the nose cone to have more space, right? Compared to like the Photo 1 last year.
Yes. Yes, they did.
Okay, and then for the flight simulations, what weight did y'all use for the rockets? Did you use the one we got a spaceport or the weight we got?
Sorry, can you say that again?
The weight that you use for your flight simulations, did
Right.
you use the weight we got a spaceport or did you use the weight?
Oh, for the comparison?
Yeah, for the comparison.
Yeah, I used the 86 pounds, the actual.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, Ravi, will any capstone teams that work with SCR be giving updates in general meetings?
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up, but we can definitely look into doing that in the future. I think right now we're still in the kind of proposal phase. So once we get past that, I think we'll be better suited for them to give updates as to what they're doing. For those who don't know, we have one capstone team working with us this year, and that is with SRAD Propulsion on their test stand. They're trying to come up with a add-on piece that will allow multiple diameter and multiple length motors to be tested on the one test stand. Unfortunately, my capstone team is technically working with the team, but will not be implemented in Shasta as the payload no longer requires a camera. And we are working on a camera cooling system for the GoPro as it has overheated in all of our rockets in the past.
Okay, one one final question. Will the rocket have a camera, not for payload, but just in general to see it flying?
So far, the plans are for it to not include a camera, but that doesn't, I think, rule it out completely. But it's looking most likely that we will not have a camera in Shasta.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Job.
All right, if there's no more questions, then y'all are free to go. I can stick around after the recording stops to answer any questions you may have. For those in person, I'll stay back for a few minutes for any one-on-one questions you have or want to ask any of the leads. So thank you all for coming. We really appreciate it. Also, wait, before you leave, don't leave. Dang, 3 people left. But for those who stay, the boss party is on Thursday, 5 to 9 p.m. in front of Engineering Building 1. Come check out AIAA's table. I heard there will be a Pong table, a Planet Pong. So if you want to see if you maybe have a shot of beating me, then you can come, but I don't really know if anyone will. So come and try, but I doubt it. Dang, this is recorded. All right. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate it. Have a good night.